Hello everyone, it's Rabbi Shmuel Paul, and I hope you're all doing well. This video is specifically for the Jewish people, and I know right now it might not seem like much, might not seem very interesting, but believe me, there will come a day when these videos that I'm putting out now will become the most important videos on the internet, bar none, for the Jewish people. Why am I doing this? Because it is one of the 13 principles of faith that the Messiah will come. And our Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, has asked us to learn the laws that apply to the times of the Messiah. And he has told us that by learning the laws of the Messiah, we will become knowledgeable in how to live in those times, and that will make God more likely to want to bring us the redemption, which we all need so badly. Some sages have told us that the Messiah will come not gradually, but in a radical way. So the Messiah may come in a way where the entire world is transformed in a flash. In this case, we're going to find ourselves in Jerusalem with the fully furnished homes, with animals to bring sacrifices, with the holy temple already built, and the world already at peace and in total support of the Jewish people. And there's precedent for this because we know that Joseph in the Bible came out of the pit in one moment. He got out of jail in one moment, and then he became second to the king. Both of these took time to develop, but the actual change from darkness to light happened in one moment. So we're developing now towards the coming of the Messiah, but the actual coming of the Messiah will be instant, and everything will change radically in one instant. A candle goes from being not lit to being lit in one instant. So we must be prepared for the fact that the Messiah can come in the same way. And if he does, we have to be ready to live in the times of the Mashiach, in the times of the Messiah. And that means we, Jewish people, will need to be familiar with the laws of the Holy Temple, the laws of the sacrifices, and the laws of ritual purity, which will be, supposed to be keeping. And I'm going to call these videos the Guide to the Geulah. And God willing, I'll be making this into a book that can be given out. I hope to make it free so that everyone can have awareness of these laws. So we can be confident and ready that when the Messiah comes and takes us to Jerusalem, that we will know what to do. There are many clear sources which tell us that by learning these laws, God will speed up the redemption. And we cannot know for sure, but it's possible that if we knew these laws, that the redemption would have already come. Please note that this video and this book will not include the laws of the priests, the Kohanim. Those laws are far more numerous and complex. This is a simple guide for a Yisrael, for an Israelite, who wants to be prepared for the observance of the times of the Messiah. Please also know that there are many more laws than are written here. This guide is in no way comprehensive. And it certainly does not replace a competent Rav being able to call a ruling, judging rabbi to ask your questions to. But the rabbis in this case will be very busy, and it will be best if you can answer as many questions as you can on your own. And my goal is that after watching these videos or after reading this book, every Jew will be able to say, yes, I'm ready for the coming of the Messiah. I know exactly what needs to be done. And whatever I don't know how to ask, I will know how to ask intelligently at the right time. But we don't want to overburden the rabbis with questions. The more prepared we are, the more God will be prepared to send us his righteous Mashiach. So we're going to start with the laws of the Korban Pesach, the laws of the Passover sacrifice. And we're going to go through about 25 rules, and let's begin. Rule number 1 is that if the Messiah comes this year with God's help, the Korban Pesach, which is a sacrifice that needs to be brought by every single Jew, needs to be brought on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, after Chatzos, which means after midday, so it has to be in the afternoon, and the sacrifice would be eaten that night. Rule number 2, to be valid, the Korban Pesach must be slaughtered during the afternoon. This is the 14th of the day of Sivan, Nisan, not before or after. Rule number 3, Korban Pesach must be a lamb or a goat. Rule number 4, the Korban Pesach must be male. Rule number 5, the Korban Pesach cannot be older than 1 year. Rule number 6, both men and women must do the mitzvah of the Korban Pesach. Even though it's time-bound, and women are not usually bound by time-bound mitzvahs, this one does actually apply to women as well. If someone does not bring the Korban Pesach, he is liable for kares, which means the cutting off of the soul. Rule number 8, you must get rid of all your chametz, all your leaven, all your crackers, all your bread, before you bring the Korban Pesach. That must be out of your house and out of your possession. Rule number 9, it's not enough to offer the Korban Pesach. The offerer and his group must go home and eat the Korban Pesach. That's part of the mitzvah. You must actually eat from it, and you must eat it with matzah and maror, which is the bitter herbs. Rule number 11, the group representative, basically the Korban Pesach is done in groups, and there's a group representative, which I'm going to call the group leader. He goes to the Holy Temple on the afternoon of the 14th of Nisan to get the Korban, the sacrifice, slaughtered. And once he has it slaughtered, he brings it back to his group. Rule number 12, the Korban Pesach must be roasted, cannot be eaten raw or cooked. Rule number 13, every Korban Pesach must be eaten in a group, and each member of the group must eat a kazayis, that's a large egg's worth of the Korban Pesach. My commentary is that since everyone must eat a kazayis, there is a limited number of people who can be in each group because the animal is only so big. Rule number 14, the leader of the group brings the animal to the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, which will be rebuilt, and brings it back to the home of the group so they can all partake of it. Rule number 15, there's a strict rule that only people who have signed up to be in that particular group can participate in that group's Passover Seder. There can be no Seder hopping, no party crashers, no unexpected guests. The groups must all be set up in advance and consist only of the people who signed up. Rule number 16, if a Jew denies Jewish law, he cannot eat from the Korban Pesach. Rule number 17, an uncircumcised male cannot eat from the Korban Pesach. Rule number 18, you may not break the bones of the Korban Pesach. If people like to eat the marrow, you may not do that with the Korban Pesach. Rule number 19, there shouldn't be any leftovers of the Korban Pesach. The entire Korban Pesach must be eaten. Rule number 20, the Korban Pesach must only be slaughtered in the Holy Temple, in its massive courtyard, even at a time where private altars are permitted. I don't think they will be permitted, but even if they were, you would not be able to sacrifice your Korban Pesach on your own altar. You could only sacrifice it in the Holy Temple, and that's where all the action is. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of priests in there participating in this process of offering the Korban Pesach. Korban Pesach is brought right after the sacrifice that comes before it, which is the Korban Tamid, because there's always a morning Korban Tamid and an afternoon Korban Tamid, and this is right at the start of the afternoon, but right after the Korban Tamid of the afternoon. Rule number 22, the slaughter can be done by any Jew, but the ritual pouring of the blood at the base of the altar can only be done by a Kohen, which is a priest. Kohen are in a small segment of the Jewish people. They come from the tribe of the Levite tribe, and they are the ones who conduct all the services in the Holy Temple. Rule number 23, we must get rid of all of our chametz, which is all our leaven. I think we said that already. I'll have to edit that. Rule number 24, unlike other offerings, the skin of the Korban Pesach is taken home by the leader of the group back to his house, and they can make a coat out of that, they can make blankets out of that, whatever they want to do with it is fine. Rule number 25, every group for the Korban Pesach must have 3 groups, so there's 3 groups with 30 in each group. So if you're wondering how like 1 million people, or today's Jewish people, which are in the number of millions, could all bring the holy sacrifice in the few hours of the afternoon of the 14th of Nisan, Maimonides has a whole explanation about that and how it is done with a line of priests, one holding silver bowls, one holding gold bowls. It's a very exciting time to bring the Paschal offering. There's the Levites will be singing the Hallel services, the praise of God, which has a lot of the Hallelujahs from Psalms, and they'll be singing, and there will be the shofar blowing, and if they finish singing the Hallel and the sacrifices are not done, they're going to start it over again. So they're going to continue singing. So it's going to be pretty hectic because there's so many people. I mean, there's only one person from 30 that has to be the leader of the group and bring that animal. So it's not like millions of people have to be there, but there probably will be hundreds of thousands. You only have one afternoon to do all of this, and it was done in the times of the first temple and the second temple. They got it done. They always got it done in the afternoon. They got everybody's sacrifice in one shot, and that's because the priests formed an assembly line, and they would, well, one is slaughtering, another one is skinning, another one is skinning, the other one is salting. Everybody's doing things at the same time, and then this blood is being transported from bowl to bowl to bowl so that the blood will not get coagulated and so that they can pour it entirely in the base of the temple. So may it be God's will that through studying these laws and being prepared for the sacrificial lamb, the Paschal sacrifice, that we will all be more ready for the Geulah Shlema. We'll all be ready for the coming of the Messiah, and God will see that we're ready, and He'll bring us the Messiah that much sooner. God bless.